Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Jerome Glenn.
Hello, everybody. See, I'm supposed to talk about technology, and I'm not even using the technology right. Blockchain is a great new force that I'm happy to speak about. There's been lots said about the UN Development Goals. A couple of very simple specifics, as was mentioned briefly just before. The World Food Program has the problem of refugees who have no paper, no identification, barely have any clothes on their body, and they have to prove who they are to get some food. Well, they can't do that. So they can scan the eye. So you can get your food and your supplements and what you need by yourself. So you can even be anonymous in blockchain. You don't even have to have a name, but at least you got to have an eye. Most people have that. Another is a climate coalition. I had the pleasure of writing about climate change in 1973. 73. And there have been speeches given, there's been treaties written, there's been conferences like this, but the parts per million of CO2 keeps going up and up and up and up because our institutions are not doing a very good job. So now we, as individual human beings, can skip the institutions to a large degree and go direct. So I, at my home, can monitor temperature, water, snow, whatever. I can have some standards with my colleagues in Vienna so that what he's measuring, what I'm measuring, is the same thing. So that we, the people of the world, will have to address we, the people, of the problem of the world, which is climate change. Because institutions are not doing it. So this blockchain movement on this coalition of climate change is extremely important. Also, there's all new ways to get money around the world, obviously, and that's clear because many people want to help Somalia or the Congo. But how do they do it? Well, they give it to some intermediary. So does it work? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But if I can contact directly with people, transfer directly, I feel that I'm engaged in the game directly. And that's important to reinforce people's motion. So blockchain is a key technology to enable individual citizens to collaborate directly with each other. This is history. You know, in the past, religion organized us, right? Then governments sat on top of religions and then organized us some more. Then corporations are organizing world markets. Eventually, individuals will play at a power game, and blockchain will be part of that transition. It helps you navigate through complexity. Consider the complex future. That's what my job is, a global, general future, and it's complex. And I appreciate that it's complex. But for average people who don't do that, they can navigate very specifically to different situations in the world and different people and different projects directly, skipping all the rest of these big studies that I write. Decentralized collective intelligence. We are building a global mind, both by design and by accident. We will be doing this for better or for worse, and blockchain will be playing its part in doing that. Cut out the middleman, you all know that. Reduce institutional blockage, but another one is it can reduce prejudice. You know, if I'm a certain tribe in Malawi, and I want to teach in my area, the boss of the ministry may be a different tribe, and he doesn't like my tribe, so he pushes me somewhere else. But let's say I want to teach in Malawi. With blockchain, I can go directly to the classroom. I don't have to go through the ministry. It can reduce prejudice. Think about that. You know, when you have an institutions controlling a decision-making system, and you're of a different tribe than I am, we're elbowing each other. But if we're not going through the institutional structure, but directly, I don't need to give you a hard time. You're in a different world. I don't care. Reducing prejudice, important. Action without asking permission. Getting approval from higher authorities. How many times have you had a good idea and somebody said, no, we don't have the budget, it won't work, it's not right. But now you can go direct. You don't have to go through those decision makers. This is a big deal. And we're going to need artists in film, in television, in music, to let the world know this change is coming up. Because, for example, the Internet Protocol was created in the late 1960s. It didn't catch on until the 90s. So we're going to have the arts needing to understand we don't have to kowtow to all kinds of stuff. We can actually deal with each other directly. That's a culture change. Let's general public in richer countries help poorer countries without third-party interference to address UN Millennium Development Goals. A simple example is what we call a telenation. There are many Malaysians that live outside Malaysia. They're well educated, they're working for the World Bank, they're working for Europe, wherever they're working around the world. But they might want to help Malaysia. And what happens now is you're sending money back, and blockchain reduces your cost, and all that's good. But you might also want to send your brain back. You can create a website, a platform, to connect up the development needs here, all over Malaysia, or whatever country you're talking about, and with Malaysians overseas. So you don't have to worry about cultural sensitivity. You got that problem solved. And you can directly get involved in the development process back home. Just as a simple example. So blockchain is a key technology to create the self-actualization economy. What? Why? The hell is a self-actualization economy? All right, first of all, we know that the wealth is continuing to concentrate. Right? Everybody knows this. And for the students of history in the world here in the classroom, we all know that when the concentration of wealth is too much, or the gaps are getting too wide, something happens. Now, we have created a world of jet plane airports and all kinds of complexities. It would be a real pain in the neck to have a revolution and mess those things up. A lot of work has been done to make civilization work. So we'd like to avoid that if possible. Blockchain may be able to help this. Employment-less economic growth seems to be the new norm, right? It's a big deal talking about artificial intelligence and robotics, getting rid of these jobs. And return on investment is usually better investing into technology and in finance systems than in people. So if that's the case, why would you be investing money into people, which we really have to do? Future technologies can replace much of human labor. Long-term, massive structural unemployment seems inevitable. Now, that doesn't have to be that way. Historians tell us that when two or more great powers confront each other, they use the weapons of the day. So by that historical trend, Moscow and Washington should have had thermonuclear war, but it didn't. So the greatest trend in history was actually turned around. So we don't have to accept trends. We don't have to accept inevitable. We can actually change history. And most people now are middle class in the world. I don't know if you know that. The majority of the world is now middle class. You go back 30 years, the majority of the world was extreme poverty. We are winning more than we're losing. Where we're losing is very serious, but we're winning more than we're losing. So there's reason to be optimistic. There's also reason not to go to sleep either. So, what does self-actualization have to do with economics? Huh? Anybody learn self-actualization in your economics class? I don't think so. Okay. What does it have to do with blockchain, furthermore? Okay. First of all, Freud taught us how you go insane, right? Maslow, his student, taught us how to go sane. So because we like to have a sane world, let's pay attention to this little hierarchy here. 51 minutes left to go. Okay, you all know hierarchy, all right? We'll speed this up. All right, self-actualization economy. Maslow's hierarchy can be applied to society as a whole. The basic needs are being met. Social networks are helping us to take care of our love and belongingness needs. So what's next is self-actualization. So society is moving in that direction at the moment, because you never run out of work being you. You can run out of work being automated, but you can't run out of yourself. So you can self-actualize, and that becomes an extremely complex, successful society. The technologies to do this sort of stuff: artificial intelligence, I won't go through this right now, robotics, synthetic biology, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. Okay, you can read this as well as I can say it, all right? My point with all these technologies is that people tend to talk about blockchain or artificial intelligence, but all of these things are in the game. And the important point is the last point, the synergies among these things. The synergies is what's going to happen. So we're going to have extraordinary capacity for good or for evil. Scenario 2 is where you have silos of people not talking to different kinds of people. You know, you have little discussion groups and you reinforce your own world. The polarization, the fractalization is a strong trend at the moment. If that continues, decisions don't get made that ought to be made. Blockchain can help cut across those decisions. Now, but if you're not successful enough, who fills the void? Organized crime. Organized crime gets twice as much money per year of all the military budgets combined. Repeat. Military budgets combined is $1.6 trillion. Organized crime is about $3 to $4 trillion a year, which means they can buy the best software available, talent. They got the money to buy the best software intelligence available. And they're not going to sit back. They're going to look at all those technologies and say, well, how do I use them? Because you wise guys, you're legalizing drugs, so I'm going to lose some money. So I got to move into other systems. Very quickly, future of management, up and down. You know, you can't control what's going on. You are a pawn in the game. So then you cut across these hierarchies with networks. Very cool. But their networks are like-minded usually. You're all interested in blockchain, right? Like-minded. But then you interact with other kinds of networks, 2 or more, and you get nodes, which are more sophisticated. Then you link up nodes into fields of play, and that's what you're doing. Congratulations. Then, next step is you put these fields of plays together, and all of a sudden the Harvard Business School said, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're doing. And there you leave the old institutional structures behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jerome Glenn, Executive Director and Futurist of the Millennium Project, on that very interesting presentation. Thank you.